Welcome to the Roll for Crit Kickstarter Pickstarter for April 30th. We got a lot of awesome picks for you, so let's get started right away. We are starting off big with Mantic Games' Hellboy, based off the comic book series Hellboy, which the movies are based off as well. You'll be playing as fellow heroes, Hellboy or his friends, and doing scenarios trying to solve mysteries before evil erupts and you have to fight that. If you like the Hellboy series, this is perfectly for you. Also, if you like miniatures, you can probably guess at the price of $131, this is a heavy miniatures game. I'm a big fan of Hellboy. I'm a little disappointed in the miniatures at this point, partly because I've already spent so much money in general. But I do love the series. I mean, it's sort of surprising it took so long considering how big Cthulhu is, and Hellboy does, I feel, have a very Lovecraftian vibe from it.
For sure, yeah.
So sort of surprising it took so long for.
Yeah, sometimes with these more niche comic book series, I guess it just varies. I mean, we got Ninja Turtles, but they're definitely way bigger than Hellboy is.
Right.
But I do like that even though it's a minis game, it's co-op and there is a solo mode included in it. That's nice. I'm glad it's not just like a Hellboy skirmish game or something. That they actually are kind of trying to go with the themes of the comic.
Yeah, and it does make it probably a bit more sense because I'm sure everyone would want to play Hellboy who probably only seen the movies and stuff.
Right, if it was a versus mode or something.
But I am glad to see him more. And I'm probably gonna,
it is very expensive.
Yes, it is.
$130 for the core set, that's a lot.
It is, and that's why I'm like, I shouldn't. But I really like Hellboy. I mean, I don't like the two-player fighting games. The fact that Hellboy was a DLC character in Injustice 2 made me go, I don't like those games, but I should buy that. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, obviously, if you like miniatures, if you're looking for a good solo game, this is nice because a lot of times it's sort of annoying if there aren't. And if you just love Hellboy, this is definitely something that it's gonna hurt your wallet, but worth taking a look at.
Overlight is the new RPG from Renegade Game Studios, their first role-playing game, in fact. One we actually got the chance to talk to them at PAX Unplugged about last year, and we were kind of excited for it because unlike a lot of other RPGs, there's no elves in here, there's no typical medieval types of things, or any race really that you've seen in other RPGs. It's a very unique setting in which Earth has been given kind of this insane power that they couldn't handle, and you're in sort of this post-apocalyptic scene where the world has been shattered into multiple lands called shards, and overhead is a giant light called the Overlight that the different creatures or beings can derive power from. So some of those people you can play as are humanoid, some of them are more like reptilian, and some other strange things, but everybody has abilities deriving from different colors, and each color is associated with some kind of virtue. So it could be strength, or some other types of powers that you can have, and they're all related to different spells. And as you play, when you make your character, you'll have different strength ratings in each of those, different skill levels, which determine which dice that you roll when using powers of that type. It sounds neat, and they are also saying that this can be used as a source book, not only for this RPG, but kind of as a guide for more RPGs going forward. So they may come out with different settings in the future that will still use these new rule books and guidelines. Renegade Games has made some really great games in the past. I think it's cool that they're delving into a role-playing side of things, and the theme seems pretty neat, so I'm excited to try this one out.
Time to try out a new race.
It sure is. So you can get the digital version for $30, or if you want the whole big kit and caboodle physical style, it'll be $50.
For all our solo gamers out there, we've got a pick for you. Blight Chronicles Agent Decker is a solo deck building game where you actually be playing as an agent going on scenarios where you'll be upgrading your deck and also avoiding things like security guards, cameras, and whatnot. And by doing so, you'll actually be making choices. So if you beat the first challenge, for example, they use in the video that you might either A, cause a blackout to get in, or steal a security uniform, which will give you different cards and different advantages. And of course, things may run out and hurt you more, like maybe the power comes back on, your uniform is destroyed. So a really cool idea, big fan of deck building games, and also the idea of this solo sort of actually choosing your adventure in different paths sounds really cool to me. We're also big fans of the solo games because it's sometimes just hard getting the right number of people for a game.
Yeah, it sounds really cool because a lot of times with deck building games, it's hard to make them feel really thematic. Like Shadowrun and Thunderstone both kind of do it to different extents, but it sounds like I like that idea of more like, oh, you're doing something and you get a card.
Right, and especially when you think of breaking in, you can think of a lot of games that have that sort of stealth element. There's usually multiple paths, and this game sort of has that in it, where you'd be like, yeah, I'll go for the disguise, or like, no, I'm just going to black everything out.
Yeah, it's neat. I think it sounds neat.
So if you're in the mood for a deck building game that you can play with yourself, check it out from Board and Dice. It goes for $45, so take a look.
Villages of Valeria is getting an expansion for this next Kickstarter called Landmarks. This is from Daily Magic Games. Villages of Valeria, if you're not familiar, is a spin-off, smaller card game from Valeria Card Kingdoms, in which you're kind of trying to build and manage a village with different buildings and adventurers that you can get. This one adds a new mechanic. Basically, in the original game, it's all about leading actions and following actions. When one player does something, everyone else can choose to follow and do a lesser version of that action. In this expansion, if you don't want to follow or can't, instead you can build a landmark. There are 5 different types of landmarks, and depending on a card you spend, whatever type of resource it's worth, you'll get a different landmark. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most of a landmark type, or if you have a set of different landmarks, you'll get extra victory points. So it's sort of something extra that you can do. Plus there's other cards in there that are related to those landmarks, some that just fit into the regular base game. What's interesting with this one too is that you have a couple of options to purchase. If you have the deluxe box of Villages of Valeria, which I think was from their original Kickstarter for it, then you can spend $19 to get this in a tuck box and fit all of that in the same box. If you just have the regular Villages of Valeria box, then for $29 you can buy a brand new box, which is larger and will house everything in there for you, and it has a new cover with actually some artwork that I really like.
Yeah, we actually have played the base and have a video on it, so if you're curious, if you would like the game, check it out. We've enjoyed almost everything we've gotten from Daily Magic Games. We thought it was really fun, and we do love the Valeria universe.
Yeah, honestly, I think Villages might be my favorite of the 3 games, even more so than the base. The original.
Yeah, because it's not really they're all bases.
Yeah, they're all bases.
It's a tough call.
Yeah.
Definitely, both of them have their moments when it definitely is their heart. They've all been fun, but yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, that is available right now if you want all that. Of course, it has tiers for the original game too if you don't have it.
Are you looking for a fun party game that's also dark and you haven't had your fill of Cthulhu yet? Well, luckily, we have the pick for you. The Maddening is a H.P. Lovecraft-based party game where you'll be playing as the Order of the Urn and trying to find out what happened to a soldier, and there'll be different scenarios that could take place in an asylum, in a park, even in the trenches of World War I. One of the cool things about this is it actually suggests that you play in candlelight, and it tries to do this hypnotic suggestion by playing this thing in the beginning that sort of gets you in the mood. I don't know how suggested, because that's a whole thing if you're suggesting on, but still pretty cool if they have a little clip you can listen to on their page. So you can sort of get in the mood like, close your eyes, you see a woman, and like it sort of feels
I saw a woman.
has that feel that you would like want with the party game. And I'm excited because it sounds a bit more cooperative. The party game we tried, the people we were with, I don't think were
Well, and I want to clarify for people, when you say party game, you're talking about
I'm talking like the mystery murder dinner kind of party.
Like, there's no cards or anything, right? It's just a book with rules.
Actually, there's a digital format, so you can read off that and actually can print out, which is really cool, masks for people. Or like other components, so there will actually be like letters and stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
So this is that full-on, like, you have everyone sit for a night to go through a thing.
You're role-playing, very much so, yeah.
Which, it sounds really cool and fun for me. And the digital version's great because it, honestly, like, the digital version's for $34 for everything. I think it's $62 for all the physical stuff. I mean, printing all this stuff probably isn't too bad. And as well as just having a phone to carry around is probably a little bit nicer sometimes, especially in candlelight. So you can read the book.
Right.
And playing, because they have music as well, ambiance and stuff like that. Definitely that kind of thing if you're into sort of that get together maybe and just sort of role play a little, have fun. Like if you love that murder mystery idea, but maybe you want to try to have everyone working together instead of who's the murderer, this may be the game for you.
And last, we've got CIA Collect It All from Mike Masnick. If you haven't heard, a bunch of board games designed by the CIA themselves have been released for public domain recently, games that they actually used internally to help train CIA agents. And since they are public domain, they can now be printed by anyone. And what this Kickstarter aims to do is take one of those games and they plan to clean up the rules. Some of those rules actually were still classified, so they're going to go in there and add and change things where needed, as well as give new artwork and just a cleaner, more professional look to it. Because the way you can print them now, it's all based on like unclassified documents that aren't exactly pretty. So I thought this was just a really interesting idea. It's like technically, because it's public domain, anyone could go ahead and print these and make their own changes to them. But this is well past funded, this Kickstarter, so clearly people have an interest in trying these CIA games, and I guess it's worth the wait and a little bit extra money if you don't gotta print them out yourself and deal with ugly cards and then the like.
I'm sure many people are excited to find out if they too could pass as CIA agents.
Yeah, the game itself is you kind of looking at challenges from the CIA, and on other people's turns you can play cards to like throw wrinkles in and make it harder for them or whatever.
I can't wait for us to play it, and on your turn I'm going to play Tweet Storm by your leader.
Yeah, that's a lot of the cards. So this goes for $29. If you want to join the CIA, you can. Don't forget, we're still running our contest to win a legendary Marvel deck building base set plus some expansions. You've got less than a week to enter, but you can go to our website, rollforcrit.com/contest to find that info. Otherwise, those are our picks for the week. Hope you check them out. Tell us what you like. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this has been Roll for Crit. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome board game content from Roll for Crit.
And please leave a comment. We're lonely.